let's scroll up a little bit. So what have we done today? We have done the guide for the Antoran High Command, right? And this fight consists of 3 bosses. And on the platform you will have 3 pods, top and on the sides, and 3 bosses, and you will only fight 1 boss at a time. The other 2 bosses will be in their pods. When a boss is in a pod, it has certain ability that it does on the raid. When the boss is not on the pod, when it's on the platform, it does only one thing and one thing only, and that is on tanks, and that is called exploit weakness. So basically just tank swap at 3. That's the only thing you have to think about when it comes to the boss when it's on the platform. The main thing here is the positioning of the fight, alright? Because if you fuck up the positioning, you fuck up the entire fight. You make the whole fight just more chaotic than it should be. And this is the reasons. When we start with the engineer. When the engineer is on the platform, that means that the admiral and the general is inside their pods. And then we have to think of what they do when they are in the pods. The admiral will do something called fusillade. Fusillade is an AoE blast on the entire platform that does high damage, and every time it does it after that, even more damage will come. How will you stop this? How will you survive? Well, these pods you can enter. So when the engineer is out, you jump into engineer pod. Then you have a special ability in that pod. That special ability you use, which is a dome shield that you put on your raid team. And that dome will take 50% decreased damage from what the admiral does from her pod, this blast thing. Alright? And if we think about what the general does when he's in the pod, he summons ads. 2 types of ads. One pyromancer and one pyromancer shock trooper. I think depending on difficulty it will be more of these ads. I can't confirm that yet. But pyromancer and shock trooper. The raid will always be stacked, soft stacked behind the boss, and always move as one when you have to move. So when the ads spawn, they will spawn more or less around you. So when they spawn around you, you nuke them down. You start with the pyro and the pyromancer, and you interrupt it every single time. You nuke it down first before anything. The shock troopers, you AoE them down fast, cleave damage, whatever you have to do, nuke them down. What they do on you though is that they charge you. After they charge, you do a little whirlwind AoE damage. So that's why you have to be soft stacked. But you need to be soft stacked because we need the ads close to everyone so you can nuke them down. And when the engineer is in the pod instead, the engineer casts mines. And here also you'll be soft stacked behind boss. When mines come, 5 mines will be shot at players. When they're shot at players, they'll be in a certain area and you move as one clockwise away from it. The only problem is that there'll be a lot of mines in the end. So you could the tanks with defensives or something else with defensives, or a paladin with immunity or a hunt immunity, whatever you have, run over some mines to clear the area. That's what you have to think about. So we have 3 bosses, 3 pods, 1 boss at a time outside, meaning that pod is free, right? So what happens when the player's in the pod? If you will be in the admiral pod, then you have 2 abilities. One ability just, a damage ability. The other one is a special ability. This special ability called Withering Fire. It's just that you nuke the ads so they take increased damage. So that means your raid can nuke them down even more. When you're in the engineer pod, that's what we talked about earlier. You create this bubble when the admiral does the blast. When you are in the general pod, then you can use your special ability is that you put a beacon that that silence the pyroblaster. It slows people, etc., etc. It's some kind of, you can call it a CC on ads basically when you're in that pod. Went to Bloodlust, on pull, definitely on pull. So that's how this fight goes, basically. And we are now done with the tactics. I'm gonna finish this a little bit so it looks good before I give it out to